Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor, you and I are going to run through some math. So everyone that hates math, please, you can tune out. Also, for the fun of it, for those of you who actually have the Wall Street Journal app as of this morning, skip the story that says Democrats are at their 35-year low in favorability. Go to the article that's very detailed, simple graphs to look at on distributional effects of this tax cut. And you'll actually see, once again, the wealthy are paying substantially more. The middle class actually gets a higher percentage of the benefit than the upper income. So instead of the political class trying to spin all of you, actually just go look at the actual math. Professor, and I know, I'm a fan of a lot of your work, and the Joint Economic Committee has quoted some of your work over the years. One thing that I believe your team has actually worked on is the morality and actually future economic vitality of populations that participate in the economy. It's really a University of Chicago study a few years ago for leading PhD economists did the report that's saying if you don't have work requirements, they're poorer at the end of 10 years. If you do have requests to participate in the economy at the end of 10 years, they're wealthier. Do you find that in your own literature?
Well, absolutely, and I've actually been somewhat shocked today at the exaggerations of the supposed catastrophes that are going to happen given that we are now including work requirements for Medicaid. The CBO projections of how many people are going to, they use the word lose health insurance, they don't consider the fact that a lot of people will voluntarily move off of Medicaid onto private health insurance, which is actually the point. And so, no, that's right. I also just want you want some numbers. Medicaid rolls have increased since 2019 by 7 million people.
And Professor, and look, for anyone who says it's a cut, it's not. It's a slowdown in the growth. We also have to deal with some math reality, and it's not Republican or Democrat, it's demographics. In 7 years, Medicare doubles in spend. It doubles in spend. And one of the great sins we do as a committee, Republicans and Democrats, is we somehow think healthcare is the subsidy. Think about every word you've heard from the Democrats here in the discussion of healthcare is the subsidy. Sorry, ACA is a finance bill. Republican alternative was a finance bill. Medicare for All is a finance bill. When will we actually unleash the technology, the healthcare revolution to change what we pay, not how we finance and ask for subsidies? Professor, and I think it's actually something your colleague did, which showed that the inflation we had the previous 4 or 5 years was actually the biggest punch in the gut to income inequality in America, because those of us with assets, we get wealthier, the other populations get poorer. And the only choice we have is to build a tax system, regulatory system, incentive system for productivity. Am I wrong?
You're absolutely correct, Congressman Schweikert. Productivity is the only answer for us to get out of the situation that we're in. Let's just talk about the medical systems for a moment, okay? Federal government, it spends about a third of the total expenditures on Medicare and Medicaid. And these have gone up so much. The federal government in 2019 spent $409 billion on Medicaid. In 2025, they spent $655 billion on Medicaid. And people are crying about cuts, okay? We need to get much more efficient with these programs and unleash productivity improvements in the programs
and in
to
9
the benefit
years, it's well
of
over 800.
Yeah, and it's going forward. It's only going to increase unless we can incentivize productivity improvements. It's just simply unsustainable. The money is not there.
Mr. Speaker, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, Professor, and I know we only have seconds, but also in your written testimony, you do something that I really hope we do some future hearings on, is what policies can we adopt that now go hand in glove with, we have expensing, research and development expensing. We have the incentives to invest in that productivity. How do we get the alignment of now our laws, our regs, our statutes to actually make them work so we maximize that GDP growth and therefore maximize prosperity for every American?
I think you have to look at, as I mentioned in my testimony, more that you can do in order to contribute to the deregulation of the economy in ways that enhances productivity, particularly in medicine. You know, things like telehealth, things like the use of AI in medicine. Some who benefit from the current system actually are against that, but I believe that's the only way that we're going to be able to get out of the fiscal problems that we are in, because these medical programs, the spending on the medical programs has exploded, will keep exploding, and is eating up increasing shares of our budget. We're not going to be able to afford the military. We're not going to be able to, our interest payments are already over 20% of our debt, of our revenues rather. Interest payments are over 20% of our revenues. If you take Social Security payroll tax off the table, they're over 25% of our revenues, excluding the Social Security payroll tax. And we just don't, the money is just not going to be there. We need these productivity improvements.
I don't want to try the chairman's patience, but thank you for your tolerance. Thank you. And thank you, Professor.